Yes, I play a lot of video games.
How much time you got? I gotta think, yes, I do play video games. I play probably too many video games.
I used to play Fallout 3, loved collecting the bobbleheads and making my own houses. Those were my favorite parts. Of course, I did the other things, but it was also that I could collect the bobbleheads.
I love video games. I mean, you name it. I grew up with the original Nintendo and I thought it was the coolest thing in the world.
As a kid, we had the classic Atari system at home. Loved every bit of it. Space Invaders, Pong, Pac-Man, you name it.
FPSs, anything top-down shooters, shmups, everything.
I would play Halo and Call of Duty growing up with my dad and my sister. We would play all the time. We had all these funny things that we would do. My dad would always comment on how good I was at figuring out where I was in the map, but sometimes I just looked at his screen and I knew where he was, so I could go find him.
Like a lot of people my age, it's a great pastime for us to relax.
The music in video games has come so far since the 80s when it was the chiptune sort of 8-bit sound. Now there's like full orchestras performing and it's just beautiful music.
In terms of movie music, there's some amazing composers out there, and it's one of those genres that I think doesn't get the credit that it deserves.
I really love the scores by John Williams and Danny Elfman. One of my favorite film scores of all time is a rather underrated John Williams score, 7 Years in Tibet. 7 Years in Tibet is my favorite movie, and it's one of my favorite film scores of all time.
I have a deep love for film music. I particularly love the scores of like Thomas Newman, obviously John Williams, but Danny Elfman and Hans Zimmer and James Newton Howard, and the list goes on.
So as a tuba player, I grew up listening to the music of John Williams and hearing the incredible tuba solos that go on in many of the Star Wars movies and all of that.
I always listen to the music in movies because it absolutely changes the experience. And what strikes me the most when I'm watching a movie is when there is no sound, because that's when I know something scary is about to happen and it's going to be really loud, probably with like a big violin something or a big percussive something.
That kind of music is really, really inspiring to me because that's what I want to do. I want to tell stories that no one's ever heard before, but that people need to hear.
Music. It's something that movies, television, video games, and most visual media have in common. We're surrounded by screens on a daily basis, whether it's YouTube, social media, streaming services, or mobile games. All of these media incorporate music to various extents. Music serves many purposes in the context of visual media. It can heighten drama, enhance dialogue, signal oncoming visual action, create suspense, and much more. The University of Wisconsin River Falls, located just 30 miles east of the Twin Cities metropolitan area, has become home to an emerging screen scoring program where the creation and production of music for visual media is growing in the Music and Stage and Screen Arts department.
After my first year of college at Luther College, when I was deciding on where I was going to transfer to, I had the opportunity to meet with Dr. Casey Palbicki here at UWRF.
I originally started as a music ed major and then sort of transitioned out of that, kind of floundering a little bit for, a year and a half until I found some footing within the kind of up-and-coming composition program here.
As soon as I transferred over here in the fall of 22, that's when I began working on the screen scoring program.
Well, I was introduced to the screen scoring program here originally through composition class. And that's where I learned that, there's multiple ways to apply music to different forms of media. And from there, it was kind of just about doing projects associated with video games and rescoring music for them.
The composition students at UWRF have been developing the skills necessary for creating music for various types of visual media. This year, composition students Ben Garcia, Sam Nesbitt, and Landon Zientara were able to have their film and video game scores recorded to picture by a full orchestra with choir. Sam Nesbitt composed a score for an excerpt from the game Nier Automata. Sam turned off the music in the game settings menu and then captured the footage of him playing the game. He then edited the footage and began composing an original score for the scene.
So starting at the software side of things, first writing it in a DAW, and then going over to notation software to actually get it on a piece of paper that people can read. And then from there, practicing the completed score, essentially.
Ben Garcia scored music for an excerpt of the game God of War Ragnarok that he captured on his PlayStation 5 using the same methods.
The actual process of writing the music was this one was a bit difficult. I had a lot of moments of writer's block, especially early on, where, I struggled coming up with things that I thought sounded good. When the pressure was really on, it sort of helps me to lock in a bit. And I was really able to create something that I think sounds like something I would want to hear within the game.
This particular excerpt has a lengthy cinematic cutscene with some A-list Hollywood actors, followed by an action-packed boss fight.
I chose God of War because I knew that I could showcase a lot of different moods within that. I knew that I could get a great mix of both cutscenes and dialogue, but also intense combat moments where I could show a wide range of musical colors and characters to it.
Landon Zientara, a student filmmaker and composer at UWRF, wrote and directed a short film called Vigil, and then composed the music for the film. The score effectively supports the tense and abstract nature of Vigil, which depicts heavy topics such as suicide and depression.
I scored an original film for this project, so I was kind of conceptualizing that project about a year in advance, and thinking about all the things I wanted to get done and when I wanted to get them done.
The student composers had just under a year to conceptualize, compose, synchronize to video, engrave, and prepare their music for recording to picture.
With a lot of projects, there is some procrastination. Not afraid to admit that.
I spent a lot of time working on my conducting technique, especially taking lessons with Dr. Sarah Babb, doing conducting lessons with her weekly, and just working on my technique and my artistry with that.
I worked with a couple of the student composers on their conducting. I worked really closely with Ben Garcia throughout the entire semester in conducting lessons. We worked on all of his movements and his multi-movement work. I also met briefly with Landon as well, and we just talked about some basic principles of conducting.
As a composer still developing my most efficient workflow, I think I do a lot of things unconventionally. One thing that I did a little differently was I started in notation and then went back and forth between different programs to figure out what I wanted timing-wise. And there are things that certain softwares can give me that others can't. So I'm bouncing around all the time to find the right thing and manipulating the technology to my advantage.
I feel often composers, their pieces are often just a part of them by the time they've created them. So
composing music for visual media is complicated and challenging, and something that demands a creative mind and a deep knowledge of music vernacular. The student composers were able to successfully compose professional scores that addressed these challenges.
More often than not, things worked out the way I planned, and a lot of times I had to jump hoops and improvise and stay up late, long nights. I think it really paid off, all that hard work. Just having that date in mind, that really was a big motivator for me.
I was really impressed by how multifaceted they were. I loved that they were combined with videos. I mean, I think that's representative of where this part of the composition field is heading, and I think that's really preparing them for their futures. So I thought that was really, really exciting.
By far, it's the best work I've ever done. It's the most dense and complex, but also the most clear in its tone. The different sort of emotional angles through the different scenes that play out through the clip, I think it's something that's really magical to me.
William Abbott Concert Hall was transformed into a Hollywood-style scoring stage, complete with Decatree microphones, outrigger microphones, and individual spot mics to ensure balance and offer many mixing options during post-production. Abbott Hall was chosen for its lively acoustics and proximity to the university and the community members. The setup was inspired by the Alfred Newman scoring stage on the 20th Century Fox Studios lot in Los Angeles, California. Ben Garcia, Sam Nesbitt, and Dr. Palbicki were given a private tour of the studio during their trip to LA in 2023. To offer the true big-budget Hollywood-style experience to the student composers, we opted to record the full ensemble simultaneously in a single session. In addition, a production crew with students from the music department and the stage and screen arts department assisted to ensure the recording session ran smoothly.
I was more or less a stage crew assistant, so I came and helped set up things, take down things. I was also in charge of making sure one of our cameras in the corner that would constantly have low batteries, so anytime I saw it was on red, I would immediately go and change it so that we didn't lose any footage from any of the angles. I also just made sure to keep things tidy around all the musicians so nobody would trip over things, making sure that people were doing okay. Things like that.
They were given the task of setting up the equipment, running cables, organizing microphone placements, and placing printed music on the music stands for the musicians.
Putting music on stands, that was really fun, making sure that everything was in order for everyone, making sure everyone had the correct sheet music. That was a real challenge with everyone because we were all making sure everyone had everything in order and nothing would get messed up. So that was a little bit of a challenge, but it was overall really fun to do that.
UWRF Cinema Symphony, a collection of hand-picked area music teachers, current music students, alumni, and UWRF musical faculty, was formed to record the scores. Each composer was given 90 minutes to work with the orchestra. This meant that they needed to be very efficient with their time and be decisive with their choices. It was also important that they take command of the orchestra, a challenging task given that none of the composers had ever conducted an orchestra, let alone a cinema orchestra, in a high-pressure recording environment with limited time.
In the screen scoring session, I sang soprano in the choir.
So my role, I played timpani and I played a little bit of percussion, but mostly timpani.
I played tuba in the recording session.
For the vocal part, we're used to seeing everyone's part and not counting a bunch of measures and then kind of audiating a key change and trying to figure out where we can get our pitches. So that took a little bit of practice in advance, but I would say that was the thing I probably practiced the most.
So when I arrived for the recording session, I was excited because this was a new experience for me. So I was really looking forward to hearing the music. We got our parts in advance, but I hadn't heard the music in an orchestral setting at that point. So I was really excited to hear what our students had created and just see the process unfold.
I made an effort to study the sheet with everyone's names on it beforehand because I wanted to put names to the instruments. So if I were addressing someone in the ensemble, I wanted to address them by name. So I memorized everyone's names because that was really important to me.
Starting pitches, yeah, goose, G flat, and E flat on top. I'm off from metronome.
What's that?
I'm off from metronome.
You're off?
Yeah, I think I'm
You don't hear it?
No, I hear it. I was off. Yeah, my bad, sorry.
So it was like super new to me. I never like played anything like that before, and like I really didn't know what to expect until like really it started, and even then I was kind of like, following along.
I felt it was really representative of what a professional gig is. A lot of times I go in and I sing. I might know a couple of the people, I might not know a couple of the people, but in the end, all of our goals were the same, which was to make good music for these composers who had worked so hard, and I thought we did a really nice job with that.
So the student composers did a great job in the recording session. They came in ready to roll. They obviously composed their music in advance, but they knew their scores really well. And they were able to lead the ensemble, which was really fun.
I was playing timpani in it, so I like looked at all the timpani gauges, like try to figure out what's the range, and like I talked to the composers a lot too, being like, what do you want here so I can best replicate, right? So like I was trying to just blend in during the whole thing. I didn't want to be anything that stuck out, so I was super worried about making sure I did what the composer was wishing for. And so
Gavin, going into E, right? That's you, I believe. Yeah. Just be super soft on that. Just go boom, 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 boom. Just kind of, it's that just underlying bass tone there.
Leading up to the session, the composers had mixed feelings about what to expect. While their music was fully prepared and organized, leading a large ensemble while synchronizing to picture was something that they never attempted before.
I wasn't too nervous about it. I feel like I probably should have been. Maybe I was downplaying it a little bit because when I actually got up there in front of everybody, on stage, it's a much different atmosphere. You kind of have to bring your A game at that point.
I was more nervous before I stood on the podium, honestly. Sitting there before and like waiting for it, I was feeling the anxiety a little bit, but as soon as I stepped up there, it came pretty naturally. It helps that I was practicing for months before that.
During the days leading up to the recording session, I was nervous. It was a combination of excitement and a little anxiety, of course. Seeing everyone in the room actually soothed me. It made everything feel right.
I just kind of hung off to the side and ran the recording session through Logic and just let them take the reins. I wanted them to be a little stressed out. I thought it was a good opportunity for them to grow and learn in this high-pressure environment. They surprised me by how well they handled it.
Being with all those people and seeing how dedicated everyone was and how much everyone wanted to make it a great experience, that definitely helped with that.
No, it was just kind of like this really surreal feeling, and from there it was just about, okay, I just got to do it now. There's no more procrastinating, no more extra steps. It's just happening now, and it's going to be what it's going to be, which it turned out to be very good. So
Sam Nesbitt's session was the most challenging. He was the first on the podium for the session and faced a group of musicians who, in many cases, had never met each other, let alone performed together.
So does anybody need clarification on that? I feel like we're on different pages.
one of the things that gave me the most confidence was when we first started, it was kind of a rocky start. And not to, throw shade or anything at the musicians, but it was a rocky start that was not in my control, or, it was just something that we all needed to get used to as a group, is playing with each other, and then me conducting everybody, trying to, keep them together so we can, get a really nice recording in the end, which we did.
When I stepped onto the podium, it was pretty magical, and I didn't think about it a whole lot until afterwards, because I wanted to treat it very professionally, and we were on a time crunch. We had to get everything recorded and get all this quality music out of this ensemble as efficiently as possible. So it wasn't until afterwards that I really thought about the experience, and I was very thankful that I was able to get into that right mindset on the podium in the moment.
I was nervous before going up, and then as soon as I stepped foot onto that podium, it was like, it almost felt like this is where I should be, this is where I belong. It felt incredible to be up there and to see everyone there and ready and wanting to play the music I wrote. It's such an incredible feeling to actually have people for that. I've been doing mostly game rescores like this one, and they all showcase a different variety, different colors, different styles, and different genres of music.
Yeah, that was really nice. Sweet. Yeah, move on.
Getting experience for both writing for a large ensemble like this, but also in terms of leading an ensemble like this, it's just not something that you can get very easily, especially, you know, where we live. It's, you know, smaller school. It's tough to find opportunities like that.
Yeah, one more time. That was awesome. At 98, 99, that was amazing. More of that. That was great.
Knowing the music definitely helped because if I was not hearing something or if something is missing, I could say, hey, can we do that again? This time I need to hear, you know, for example, more trombones or whatever.
It was a lot of fun working with the UWRF Cinema Symphony, especially because there were a lot of musicians who had never met before and were playing together for the first time. That was something that made me a little nervous at first, but it was also a really, really cool experience.
While there was plenty of uncertainty going into the recording session, there was a general feeling that the session was an overwhelming success.
I thought the recording session was a great success, actually. It's a new experience, so you never quite know going into it what it's going to be, but I thought it went really well. It was very well organized all the way through. The composers did a great job. Dr. Palbicki navigated everything and orchestrated everything really well. So it was just a cool experience, and it was fun to hear the music come to life.
I thought they did a really nice job. It's really high pressure, and especially if they don't have a lot of conducting experience, it can be really intimidating to have not just a group of people you know, but also a bunch of people who you don't know, all sight reading your piece. I can't imagine what that would be like to create my own piece and have other people do it.
I think they all did such a fantastic job during the session. And hearing the beautiful music that they wrote and seeing them up on the podium commanding the orchestra to get the most out of them is just kind of breathtaking for me.
The culture in the screen scoring program is one of collaboration, encouragement, and healthy competition. The student composers challenge and inspire each other.
It's great to know that you have the support of great peers like that, and, you know, people that I would consider friends.
It was really enriching and motivating to work alongside two other composers. Ben and Sam are really, really talented, and I'm really grateful to have them as friends. And encouraging each other throughout the process leading up to the recording session, I think, was super helpful and encouraging.
Working alongside Ben and Landon has been amazing simply because they already have their own established styles. I still kind of feel like I'm trying to find mine, but when I hear their compositions, I always go, oh yeah, that's definitely, you know, a Landon composition, or it's definitely a Ben composition.
People are social creatures by nature, and so naturally we want to find people who are like ourselves. And for me, being in a school like this and having that opportunity to meet great people like that, it's not something I necessarily expected when I transferred here, but I'm so happy that it did happen like that.
I love being the odd one out. I love distinguishing myself and standing out, but it was also really cool to stand out and shine with two other amazing people and talented, hardworking composers.
Having peers in a similar spot to me, you know, hoping to advance, you know, further in this career, Landon more specifically with movies, but Ben also on the same track as me, looking at video games, looking at similar schools, stuff like that. That's really reassuring to have, you know, people interested in the same field as me.
Dr. Casey Palbicki has been developing and building the screen scoring program at UWRF for a couple of years.
Dr. Palbicki is a very thoughtful professor at the university, and he really cares and devotes a lot of himself into these projects and certainly into his students. And you could tell that he poured so much into this because of how much he cares and how much he believes in his students.
Working with Dr. Palbicki is honestly an incredible experience. He's not only good at what he does, but he's really good at teaching it too.
Dr. Palbicki is such a great guy to work with, kind of taking me under his wing and being a great mentor to me and setting me on a track that I, hope to follow through in my future in this field.
I really enjoy working with Dr. Palbicki. I would not be at this school if it weren't for his guidance and his just his passion for the craft.
I consider him my funkle. He's a fun uncle. He loves and supports all his students and wishes to see them grow and succeed in whatever endeavors they want to do, whether they're staying around here and continuing to do stuff, or they move out to California, New York, whatever it is. He fully supports his students.
His support and his knowledge it's been an incredible experience working with him.
The recording session aims to provide the screen scoring students with tangible demo material for their portfolios. These portfolios are essential in gaining employment in the film and game industry. The students are seeking to work in Hollywood, where the industry and studios are located. Some students will be seeking a postgraduate education from the University of Southern California's Thornton School of Music, where they offer master's degrees in screen scoring for film and video games.
My plans after I leave UWRF here is I'm going to be taking a gap year and then hopefully pursuing my master's degree at the University of Southern California.
Right now I'm planning on hopefully going to grad school. So I'm looking at the Thornton School of Music at USC in California right now as kind of my number one spot to go. But I'm also going to broaden the search just because, got to try a whole bunch of different options.
I want to continue making original films and writing music, and I also want to travel and meet a lot of people and experience things that I can tell the world about.
With the success of the recording session, the enthusiasm from the performers, and the growth of the screen scoring program at UWRF, plans for future opportunities for composition students are already underway.
I really want this to happen every year. I think it's really cool, bringing all these people together to make beautiful music, let the students build material for their portfolios. The other students in my screen scoring studio are jumping at the bit to get their hands on the baton for next year. Some have already begun writing their scores.
Yeah, I'm hoping. I'm waiting for the call back and hoping. But yeah, I'm hoping to do it again next year. And I know different people are talking about being in it, and I'm just I'm excited. I'm excited to hopefully be back and get to play and see what these people bring in next year and see what new people get to do it too.
Now that this project is over, I could be done working right now and be perfectly satisfied with everything I've done. It could be the end of my story, and I would be so thankful and gracious, and I would be satisfied if it was over. But because I'm still here, because there's more opportunities ahead of me, I have so much more to do.
Bringing Hollywood to small-town western Wisconsin, while quite challenging and complex, gave this community a unique opportunity to not only experience a professional screen scoring recording session, but also to support the student composers in developing their portfolios. Maybe someday we'll see their names on the credits for a blockbuster Hollywood film or a AAA video game.
Where I see myself in 10 years is, hopefully working in the industry, whether it's Hollywood or video games or TV or anything else. I just want to be writing music for incredible visual art.
I want to continue doing projects like this and then just challenge myself to be better and better. Make things that I want to see and create art for other people to enjoy, tell people's stories through music and the films I make.
If you are interested in studying music composition for visual media, Use this QR code to access the UWRF screen scoring website for more information about the program and for applying.